Where did we leave off? Right, I was leaving Slab City after a full day, went to the amazing Fountain of Youth Resort and Spa for another night, and the next morning, my destination, or first stop, is Salvation Mountain. As we approach the town of Niland, California, formerly known as Old Beach, Imperial Junction, and Hobgood, it is estimated as of June 2020 the population to be around 500. Coming up on the left is the food bank, the post office, and the only grocery store. Turning left here will take you straight into Slab City, about 3 miles down the road. Leaving Niland and crossing the railroad tracks, and then driving for a little bit further, you'll cross over one of the Coachella Valley irrigation canals. That's basically the entrance to the Slab City area. And this is where you're immediately greeted with the first bit of art of Slab City. On the outskirts of Slab City, you can just take your camper, trailer, or even tent, find a nice spot, and you're there. No rules, no rent, no nothing. Coming up on the right is Salvation Mountain, our destination. Leonard Knight's tribute to God and the world is Salvation Mountain. Leonard's words to the world is simple, yet powerful. God is love. Leonard's passion has lovingly created this brilliant outsider art masterpiece, with not only biblical and religious sculptures such as the Lord's Prayer, John 3:16, and the Sinner's Prayer, but also including flowers, trees, waterfalls, suns, bluebirds, and many other fascinating and colorful objects. Salvation Mountain must be seen to fully be appreciated, as those who have made the journey will attest. It's 50 foot high and 150 foot wide, is made totally of local adobe clay, donated paint, and is truly unique in the United States and probably the world. From its Sea of the Galilee at the bottom to the big red heart in the middle, love is everywhere at Salvation Mountain. At the time of my visit, I found a lot of repairs going on and some areas closed, apparently due to a recent rainstorm. Check out that billboard made out of old solar panels. Anyway, it's time to leave Slab City and Salvation Mountain, and we're going to head on over to the south shore of Salton Sea. To give you a better understanding of my travels, and the upper left is where we started in Desert Shores. Then we made our way to Salton Sea Beach, and down through Salton City. I then traveled all the way around the southern end of the Salton Sea to the Fountain of Youth Resort. The next morning we headed to Slab City, and from there we're going to the new mud pots, Red Rock Marina, and the Sonny Bono Wildlife Sanctuary. Here you can see the receding Salton Sea, and everything to the left of the blue line was underwater. Now farms are popping up on those receded shorelines. This marshy land was underneath the Salton Sea at one time, and Niland has its share of dilapidated buildings. The new mud pots were also under the sea. They weren't being very active, and I was not sure to get too close. Here we are at Red Hill Marina on campgrounds. I know I kept saying Red Rock and Red Mountain, but it's actually Red Hill. This is Red Rock Campgrounds and Marina. And this is where the boat ramp is. But as you can see, the Salton Sea has shrunk so much. There is no water. But if you look way out in the distance, you can see the Salton Sea. Here's a close-up view of the boat ramp, and you had to give the community a lot of kudos because it looks as if they dug out the canal to keep the water coming to the boat ramp for as long as they could. I love this no swimming sign. Yeah, devastating, isn't it? I came to this area as a sort of scouted out for camping for the night, but it was just a little too quiet for my taste. Where these cabanas are, all of that used to be part of the Salton Sea. The water used to come all the way up to here. Is that crazy? Where has all the water gone? I'm not sure, but I wonder if this was at one time the swimming pool for the Red Hill campground and marina. Not sure. And just down the road a bit, I arrived at the Sonny Bono Salton Sea Wildlife Refuge. Thank you, Sonny, for putting all this energy and saving this land for the birds. However, I found it a little bit disturbing that right next to this is a place where hunters go to shoot the birds. Yeah, that's conflicting for me. I was quite surprised climbing on top of the lookout tower and actually seeing birds in the marshlands. That again once was the Salton Sea. It was really cool. In 1998, the refuge was named after Congressman Sonny Bono. The Sonny Bono Salton Sea National Wildlife Refuge helped inform the U.S. Congress of the environmental issues facing the Salton Sea, as well as acquiring funding for this refuge. This to respond to the avian disease outbreaks and other habitat challenges at the Salton Sea. Efforts to address the restoration of the Salton Sea have been in process for many years, and I'm sure will continue for many more. I actually enjoyed visiting here more than I thought I would. It's quite beautiful, tranquil, and there were other visitors there as well, which made me feel pretty good. And the sunsets that it left me with were spectacular. As it was getting dark, there was only one thing to do, and that was to head back to the Fountain of Youth Resort and Spa. This place kept calling my name. I secured my camp for the night, made myself some dinner, got everything organized, and then I headed on down to the one of the many pools and spas for a little R&R. I steered clear from the gossip spa. It was not my cup of tea. But my favorite was the lobster pot. This was the mineral springs coming in directly from the ground with no chlorinated water. It was so hot and amazing. And then there was the waterfall spa, which was much cooler and half and half chlorinated, half mineral water. They had two large pools. One was freshwater and one was saltwater. And in the morning, I woke up and I did not want to get out of bed, as most people don't want to do. But I slid myself out, let's say, and took down the bug net, charged my solar generator, made myself some breakfast, and off we go for our next stop in Bombay Beach. So the west shores of Salton Sea is Desert Shores, Salton Sea Beach, and Salton City. On the northeastern shore, you have Nyland, but not really, Bombay Beach, and Mecca at the very north. Mecca is truly the north shore. Bombay Beach is really the northeastern shore. It's always been my understanding that the Salton Bay Yacht Club in Salton City and the North Shore Yacht Club in Mecca were kind of rivals in events and things. As of 2019, the population in Bombay Beach is approximately 297. Before the sea receded, it flooded, if you remember. And here you can see the high water line. Bombay Beach community built a berm around their town to protect it from that high water. Pretty amazing. The berm still stands there today. During the 1950s and 60s, Bombay Beach was a popular beach-going destination. Celebrities such as Frank Sinatra, the Beach Boys, and Bing Crosby were always around at the luxury resorts along the Salton Sea. This is the Ski Inn bar and restaurant, which is still going after all these years. The only other business in town is a small grocery store. A report by the Pacific Institute in September of 2019 stated that 10 years earlier, there were some 1 million fish in the sea. Now, more than 97% of those fish are gone. Taking a lead from East Jesus and Slab City, the Bombay Beach area and coastline is full of community art installations as well. Some of them are pretty interesting. Along the short coastline of Bombay Beach, all of this area where this art is was underwater. Crazy, right? Bombay Beach's decline, like the other cities around the Salton Sea, began around the 70s when the runoff full of chemicals led to a warning that the salinity of the sea would no longer sustain wildlife. That occurred by the early 1980s. This Bono lift is a tribute to Sonny Bono, who has done more for the Salton Sea area than anyone, up until his death in January of 1998. I think Sonny had a soft spot for the Salton Sea, even though him and Cher were thrown out of the yacht club in the early 60s. And I'm happy that there is the wildlife refuge in his name and in honor on the South Shore. This installation for Elon Musk is because of the lithium that was found in and around the Salton Sea to get him to come on down and take a look. So yeah, if you have an electric car, they do have a charging station there on Bombay Beach. You can see here in the background the berm, and I believe this once was the Marina, and the water would go underneath of it because there's the pilings there in Bombay Beach. And now the art installation is, hey, dinner for three underneath where the old marina was. And don't forget to pick up your newspaper while you're at it. And if you're around Bombay Beach on Sunday around 10 o'clock, you can come to the church and have service. I dropped a lot of coin in this wishing well and made lots of wishes. I hope they come true. The majority of them were to someone to save this Salton Sea and bring it back to the recreational days of the 50s, 60s, because it was amazing. There is some truth to this sign, as it was a bombing range in World War II. Even the Ski Inn has a satellite bar down here on the Bombay Beach. And this stick-figured pirate ship is pretty doggone cool. And I think this sign says it all. Save our sea. SOS. On the other side of the berm is the city, and as you can see, it's a square grid. Here's a map of the art installations in town, but let's start with Bombay Beach Estates. This used to be waterfront real estate. Most of the residents use golf carts to get around since the nearest gas station is 20 miles away in Nyland. There's only one store and the ski-in bar and restaurant in town. And the closest hospital is 45 minutes away in Brawley. It's noted in 2018 as people began to move back into Bombay Beach, house prices has risen. Some bungalows were selling for tens of thousands of dollars. The once waterfront homes of Bombay Beach estates now view the berm. The community has held a Bombay Beach biennial each spring since 2016, inviting artists, academics, writers, and filmmakers to create work, give lectures, and stage happenings. The chandeliers above this house are kind of cool. I then noticed the Bombay Beach Museum, and it looked open, so I went in to take a gander. Looks like the museum has departed. Boy, that green shag brings memories. Just down the block is the Bombay Beach Drive-In Movie Theater. I was a little bit early for the matinee, but I'm sure there's been some amazing Hollywood blockbuster premieres here in beautiful Bombay Beach. Oh, I bet you could pick up this Corvette pretty cheap. This airplane art is one of the staples in Bombay Beach. It just so happened the day I was there, it was being disassembled, and the rumor from the others around, it was sold to a museum in London. Here's another airplane art. I believe this is called Da Vinci's Flying Fish. Very cool. Before moving on, I go back to on top of the berm of the Bombay Beach and take a final look. And just try to imagine what it was like when the water came all the way up. It must have been amazing. This billboard looks like something from the 50s or 60s. From Bombay Beach, I headed north to the Salton Sea State Recreation Area, Mecca Beach. Mecca Beach's entrance kiosk is no longer manned. It's now on your honor. $7 for a day pass, $10 for overnight camping, and the only human I saw was a park ranger cleaning the trash cans. This signage caught me off guard. No diving. I can't even barely see the water from this vantage point. That must have been left over from the 60s. Here's an aerial view of Mecca Beach, and here is the high water line. Crazy. And this is where I stopped to have lunch. This little guy kept good close tabs on me. I think he was hoping I would drop something. Experts say the sea will shrink by 60% by the year 2030. Salinity will increase threefold, killing off every last fish, desiccating countless acres of marsh and grassland, leaving millions of birds without food or nesting habitat. Dust storms will pick up farm chemicals and pesticides from tens of thousands of acres of newly exposed lakebed, sending the powder toxins swirling around rural Southern California communities. The real only solution is to get water back into that Salton Sea. Otherwise, it's going to end up as another Bono or Owens Lake. While leaving Mecca Beach, I couldn't wonder why nothing's being done, so I did some Googling and I found that there's been over $80 million spent on evaluating what to do about the sea. Can you imagine if that money was actually spent on something to fix the sea? Anyhow, I found this website. Seems like it holds a lot of fake promises, but maybe we all need to write letters. Continuing north from Mecca Beach, we're headed now towards the North Shore Yacht Club. Judging by this aerial shot, it seems they tried their hardest to keep the waterline where it originally was until it was no longer feasible. I have recently found out it's no longer a yacht club, but a community center. Nevertheless, I found this structure to be in pristine condition as it had a massive refit a few years back. I'm so glad they preserved this. I wish they would have done that with more structures around the Salton Sea. Just north of the North Shore Yacht Club, I had heard about the International Banana Museum. It was very short-lived, but it was still there, or remnants of it. I thought to myself, who would build an International Banana Museum anywhere? After leaving the International Banana Museum, I decided to head north into the Painted Canyon and hopefully get some shots of the Salton Sea from up there. The trip to the Painted Canyon did allow me to drive through the agriculturally rich areas of the Imperial and Coachella valleys. I can see now why they may have diverted water flowing into the Salton Sea to produce food. However, what I don't understand is if the toxic dust blowing away from the Salton Sea dry lake bed and areas causes cancer and is injuring people, what good does it do to have food if there's nobody around to eat it? Like I said earlier, the $80 million that's been spent over the last 4 or 5 decades for surveys and land testing and different types of plans to bring water to the sea, that money was actually spent on one good idea, we wouldn't be in this mess. The simplest solution that I've read about so far is building a canal from Baja California to the Salton Sea, since water runs downhill anyway, and Salton Sea is 263 feet below sea level. Another option is build a pipeline through the ends of Borrego Mountains. The cost on that would be outrageous. Heck, the California aquifer is over 400 miles long. The distance needed here is less than 100. Painted Canyon is beautiful. The rock formations and the dirt roads and trails to get up here were a lot of fun. Even helping these people get unstuck with their van made it a nice and worthwhile trip. But the main reason traveling up to Painted Canyon was to get these views of the Salton Sea's North Shore. How spectacular is that? And not a boat, fisherman, or person anywhere. This concludes our trip around the Salton Sea. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something from it. Until the next time, love you, Mom.